if you want to shoot landscapes that are not boring, that are visually appealing and interesting, there's a few steps that you need to go through, and I'm going to show you those steps right now. This video's location, it's called Oliver's Landing. It's a very beautiful place here. As you can see, it's just off the highway from Vancouver to Whistler, and it's about 10 minutes before Squamish, and it's a very beautiful community, laid back, chill, nice and quiet community. And you can come here and you can shoot some beautiful images, because this place is full of potentially beautiful images. I used to shoot boring landscapes when I was starting out because I didn't know what to look for when shooting an image. But there are a few steps that you need to go through in order to give yourself the best chance to shoot a beautiful image. And when I'm talking about images, me personally, I talk about photographs, not pictures. For me, there's a clear distinction between a picture and a photo. A picture is something that you snap really quick. A photograph, there's a creative process behind it that you need to go through to get the best possible image from the location you're shooting at. So starting off from this premise, picture versus photo, let's see how we can create beautiful images, aka beautiful photographs. Oh, look at that sunset. Look at that sunset. It was a bit cloudy coming in here, and I was hoping to get a bit of a break in the clouds, because that is the first thing that you need to look for. Not clear skies, not overcast skies, partly cloudy skies, and not just any time of the day, but sunset or sunrise. So partly cloudy skies at sunset and sunrise, that's what you need to look for to get you a beautiful, beautiful photograph. If you have partly cloudy skies at sunrise or sunset, those clouds will catch the sunrise rays or the sunset rays, and they create this dramatic photograph. As you can see, the sky is not terribly dramatic though today, because the sunset is happening that way and the sun is very close to dipping behind that mountain over there. And the clouds that I have over here, they're not best in terms of dramatism. So the sky is not really playing ball today, but I have a couple of images to show you, just to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Those scattered clouds at sunset or sunrise that are catching the sun rays, and they create those beautiful punchy colors of reds, oranges, yellows, all sorts of rainbow colors. So those are the conditions that you want to look for. So that's one. So here are the photos, just so you know what I'm talking about. Beautiful area over here. I've only been here just once. It's a very beautiful area for photography, and that's why I came here today. Because also, if you can notice behind me over there, there's some snow on the mountains, on the peaks, and that's another reason that I came here today, because I went to Whistler like 3 days ago, and I saw these mountain peaks all covered up in snow, and I thought I just gotta come here and shoot some photos. So might as well make a vlog about it, how to shoot beautiful photos and not take boring ones. So basically you have to have beautiful light. That's what I'm getting at. You need to have beautiful dramatic light. And speaking of dramatic light, look at this. You see how that sun casts the rays on this grass in front of me? So what I'm gonna do for the next photo, I'm gonna use this grass patch here as not a foreground element, but more like a foreground interest, and then that mountain with the sun for the background. So let's shoot a photo like that. I might have to do exposure blending over here because the sun is very powerful and I'm shooting right against that. I will have to expose another photo for the grass here, so let's do that. Awesome, I got my two shots, one exposed for the grass and then one exposed for the mountain, for the sun, and I'm going to combine those two together, and it should come out as a beautiful photograph. Okay, so tip number 1 was dramatic lighting and dramatic conditions. Tip number 2, if you want to shoot photographs that are not boring, you have to shoot in locations that are not boring, right? Obviously, the camera captures what it sees. If it sees a majestic vista, it will capture that. If it sees just a flat, boring foreground and background, it will capture that as well. So to give yourself better chances, you need to shoot beautiful, beautiful landscapes. Okay, so far we have dramatic conditions and beautiful landscapes, beautiful location. Okay, numero 3. The third thing that you need to keep an eye out for, of course, maybe you hear all the photographers talking about this, framing and composition. Now, what is framing and composition? Simply put, whatever your camera sees, it's a frame, okay? That's the frame. Whatever you see, whatever you point your camera towards, that's the frame. For example, I'm pointed now towards the island and towards the mountains in the background, so that is my frame. It's the square in which all the landscape sits, okay? But what is composition? Well, composition is the way in which the elements in the frame are arranged, how you place the elements within the frame. Simple as that. So if we come on this side, do you see that green grass over there? I'm gonna jump down and I'm gonna get a frame with the grass in the foreground and with the mountain in the background. So that's gonna be my frame, but also I'm gonna have the grass as a compositional element because I'm gonna place the grass on the bottom of my frame, getting a nice composition, a visually appealing composition. So let's do that. Okay, so right now, as a composition, I have this grass in the foreground and I have the mountain in the background. That's my composition, right? And of course I have like all these boulders in between and the water, of course, but in terms of composition, that's where it's at. Another composition that I see right here, those 3 mountain peaks in the background in the distance over there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna frame those mountains to get me those mountains as a compositional element. Here I have another composition. I have these boulders on the bottom of the frame. I have the island and the peak on the left in the background. Now the island is a little bit off-centered because I wanted to put in the middle the peak as well. So I want in the center of the frame the island plus the peak. If I would want just the island, I would pan to the right a little bit more and I would center the island. Because this island sticks out as a short thumb, so might as well have it in the center of the image because that is the subject, right? And that's another thing you need to consider if you want to create beautiful photographs. What is a subject? Okay, you need to have a clear intention of what you're shooting, not just pointing the camera at random stuff and shoot. You need to have a clear intention. Get a subject, frame it, compose it if you want to add something in the foreground, right? So notice how I said frame it, compose it, because those framing and composition, they go hand in hand, right? It's not the best looking of islands, but it will do. So let's take a photo right now with the island in the middle. Nothing special, but it's okay. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch to the zoom lens and zoom into that mountain peak over there because we have such a nice light falling on that peak. So see, because I have a clear intention that I want to focus on that mountain, I want to get a frame of that mountain, that's going to become my subject because I know I want to photograph that mountain. So I need to put the zoom lens on to get a bit closer, and thus that will be my subject. And now it's just a matter of getting a frame and a composition. This is when the light is at its best. Look at this behind me. Such a beautiful, beautiful location, right? Tip number 2, shoot in beautiful locations. That's why. Beautiful locations give you beautiful photographs. And look at that peak over there behind me. I think I can get a nice frame with that peak. And also behind me the light is getting even better. And of course in the direction of the sunset you have those 3 peaks with a little bit of an orange sky behind them. Bloody awesome, mate. Bloody awesome. Now of course when we're talking about composition, we're talking about the compositional rules or guidelines, like, you know, leading lines, the rule of thirds, symmetry, foreground element, frame in a frame, all those things we can use to get beautiful compositions. Here are a couple of photos that I shot in the past that illustrate the leading line compositional element. Here is a photo from Slovenia that demonstrates the rule of thirds. Now if you noticed, I placed that church on the right side of the frame only because the frame begged for the church to be placed on the right side, because there's a trail that leads up to that church and that trail comes from the left side of the frame. So that's why the church is on the right side of the frame, because I wanted to include that trail as well, because it's a nice visual element. Another compositional element that you can use is shoot through things like this. You see this grass over here? I can place my camera so I can have the grass on the right side and on the left side of the frame, but the grass is going to be out of focus, so that will create a frame within my frame, and because of the grass will be out of focus, I can create depth in the image. As soon as you see that image, your brain is going to compute the three-dimensionality of the image, right? So let's set up a frame for this, have the grass on the right and the left side of the frame, and then I'm going to focus on the mountains in the background with the sunset over there. Okay, so right now I got another frame, and the composition within my frame is as follows. On the left side in the foreground I have the grass that's peeking into the frame from the left. On the bottom side you can see the log that's peeking in from the bottom, and in the background I have the mountain and the water, and that's it. That's my frame, that's my composition. So I was zoomed in on that peak, on that mountain over there. That was my frame, that was my composition. But what I noticed is right on top of that peak we have these clouds, and there's some breakage in the clouds that revealed a nice blue sky. So I zoomed out a little bit, actually a little bit more, to catch the sky as well, with the mountain and with the clouds over there, because it's such a beautiful contrasting color. So that is another frame and also is another composition. Now, of course, when we're talking about subjects, you can also have a subject as a human in your photograph. But when you're shooting humans in landscapes, it's always a good idea to have the people a bit further down into the frame, because what you want to do with that person is emphasize how big the landscape is and how grandiose it is. So if you have the person closer to the frame, you would make it about the person, but if you have it further down, or her further away in the frame, you will make it about the landscape. The person is just there to emphasize how big the landscape is. So I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm going to walk on this here log till the end of it, and I'm going to put my camera on a self timer 20-second delay, and I'm going to take a photo like that with me in the frame, looking in the distance, not making eye contact with the camera, because you wanted to make it look as the photo was not staged. So I'm going to look into the distance, and to add an even more interesting element when you're shooting a person, have them wear a color that contrasts with nature. So as it happens, I have an orange thing on, so I'm going to strip down to the orange thing. I'm going to hop in there and I'm going to show you the end result. Cool, very nice. So what I did, I actually shot 2 photos, one that I exposed for the log and for myself over there, basically for the foreground, and then another photo I shot exposing for the sky, because I could not get a properly exposed photo in one shot because the sky is very bright, the foreground is very dark. So sometimes you have to do that. It's called exposure blending. You blend two exposures to get one properly exposed photograph from the front to the back, or from the bottom to the top. Oh, look at those clouds in the back, so beautiful. I love this location. I'm gonna come here more often. And look behind me. Look at those colors with the snow on the peaks. Beauty! We're starting to hit blue hour over here, which is beautiful, because with those peaks with the snow on top, right on. There's a plant over there that exhausts that steam or whatever it is. So I'm going to shoot that way. That's going to be a dramatic photograph with the sky, with the broken clouds above, and with those colors. Let's do that. Now, if you noticed, when I framed for the photo with me in it, I didn't frame the log in the center of the frame, and that's because when I was standing on it, I was looking that way. So, you know, when you see a person looking in a direction, you're curious too. So that's why, because I was looking in that direction, I was framing that way a little bit more, so I can reveal more of the landscape that way, because I was looking in that direction. So I had a very nice composition with the log and myself on the left, looking that way, and the frame revealed what I was looking at. So that's something else you need to keep in mind if you're shooting a person in the frame and they're looking in a direction. More often than not, you would have to frame a little bit towards the direction that he or she is looking at. Oh man, beautiful. Look at this behind me over here. You see those mountains with snow on top? But do you also see these little flowers? So let's get them as foreground elements, and with those mountains behind in the background, we should get a beautiful photo. Okay, so I got 3 photos. One focused for the flowers in the foreground, one focused for the midground, and one focused for the background over there in the mountains. This is called focus stacking, when you shoot different images of the same subject, of the same frame, and of the same composition, but you focus on different elements in the frame from the front to the back, and then you stack them together to create a beautiful image with everything in focus from the front to the back. My front are these flowers, my back is the mountain. Look at the sky right now. Purple, pink, purple, you name it. We got it. Super nice. Here I have another composition with the flowers in the foreground, those trees in the midground, and of course the mountain and the sky in the background. So that should be another interesting photo. You gotta get to the water edge, but it is so slippery because look, now it's low tide and these rocks are still wet. Everywhere I step I slip. Oh, easy does it. Luckily there are small rocks and not big boulders, because those would be downright dangerous. Okay, but look at this beauty. I think the tide is coming back in. Gotta keep an eye on this because I don't want to be trapped here. So what I want to do is put the camera down, have these waves as a foreground element, and have the mountain as a background interest, and that's about it. I'm gonna go low. Maybe these 2 boulders, I can use them as a frame in a frame, so I can frame through them against the mountains. Let's try that. Another crucial step for shooting beautiful photos, it's editing. Whether you like it or not, I always say editing is 50% of the photo, maybe even more in some cases, because For me, if you skip the editing part, those images will still look like pictures. You don't exploit the full potential of editing when it comes to shooting your photos. So editing is very important. Learn to edit your photos because they will look much better. It's like running a marathon and giving up 100 meters before the finish line. So editing is the final step of this list, but it's a very important one. This is a nice frame over here. You see these two big logs? I can frame them to have them in the foreground and then have the mountains in the back. Today was a nice day to shoot photographs. Too bad the sky wasn't playing ball that much with scattered clouds and those dramatic colors. But nevertheless, it is awesome. Like this one for here. We have more logs, more trunks. So let's get another frame over here. That's it for me for today. I have a PDF document, the link is in the description below. If that interests you, check it out. It talks about how to create beautiful photographs, basically what we talked about today. How not to take pictures, but how to create beautiful images. It's free. Get it because it will help you to get you in the right mindset and start creating beautiful images instead of just randomly shooting whatever gets your attention. So that's it for me today. I will see you in the next video. Take care and peace.